936, welcome back, 700 WLW, Ken Baru for Scott Sloan. You know, I'm lucky in the sense, well, I'm lucky in a lot of ways, but I'm lucky in the sense that when I commute, I generally go against the traffic. I'm not out there running with the horses trying to get from point A to point B in as short a time as possible. And it's always been that way for me in my career. When I was in television, it was like 2:30 to 11:30. There was no real traffic out on the road at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And coming home at 11:30, it was fairly wide open. Coming in today now to fill in for Scott, I had to leave the house at 7 o'clock. And I hit traffic, but that's unusual for me. But I know a lot of you are out there and you're battling it every day, and the roads around here are just horrible. If they're not dug up by potholes, they're dug up by construction, and they're just a lot of cars trying to come in from, it seems like, the same area at the same time every day. Commuting. Stressful. And by the time you get to the job, you're already frazzled, or by the time you get home, all you want to do is lay down on your couch and fall asleep, which is probably bad for your health as well. So how do you deal with the stress of commuting? There's a professional staffing agency, Robert Half. It shows that 45% of people say their trip to the office is too long, and 50% of you say their commute is too stressful. Let's bring in on the AcuteHearingCenters.com hotline. She is the author of a brand new book, just out, I think, this week. Turn your brain on to get your game on. How, what, and why to peak performance. Good guest of this program, Lee Richardson. Lee, good morning, and how are you? Are you stressed out at this hour?
Well, I'm not commuting, so I'm just fine.
Oh, yeah, because that's right. You have a driver and a car, so they just pick you and valet you all over the place.
I wish. But I'm kind of like you. You know, my commute, it's been a goal of mine to open an office close to my house. Because commute time to me is unproductive. And it doesn't have to be. And I thought about that even with my 10-minute commute. You know, I should be listening to so many podcasts that I want to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And I should be listening to a podcast. That's how I learned to breathe, actually, is every time I got to a red light, I would practice my breathing.
Wow. Yeah.
So there are good things that you can do in the car.
Yeah. Well, I worked in Washington, D.C. many years ago, and I'm seeing here in this report the average commute time in Washington, D.C. is well over an hour. In fact, I think that's on the shy side. In New York, it's over an hour. And we spend so much time in our cars to get from point A to point B that it's stressful. There's road rage. There's just all of that going on. And I suppose dealing with that is the biggest thing. How do we begin the process of dealing with commuting so that it doesn't absolutely ruin wherever we're going to or from? Where does that begin?
Well, I think it begins with accepting the fact that this is a part of our day. And we either need to be able to accept that and use that, reframe the way we think about that commuting time, or we need to explore other options. More and more companies are offering work from home. They're offering flexible hours. Because if you get to work and you're so stressed out, your productivity is definitely going to go down. And I think companies and corporations are realizing this. You know, everybody I want to be the best I can be when I get to work. Mm-hmm. But those potholes, you know, if I feel like I go through a war zone just to get there, it really puts a negative energy in my heart.
So you said something that was interesting. When you get to a red light, you do some deep breathing, and you just kind of just take deep breaths and try and work some of that stress out, because stress is a killer. But would deep breathing work for everybody or just for Lee Richardson?
Deep breathing, everybody's optimal breath rate is between 4 and 7 breaths a minute. When I'm talking to you, I'm taking 12 to 14 breaths a minute. I have to say everything I'm going to say. And it's hard to really slow your breath down, to get that breath down in your diaphragm.
Right.
And it's really hard. And so instead of picking up my cell phone and texting at a red light, I decided I was just going to use my breathing.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I often, people always tell me, look, life is about attitude. And how you deal with it is largely how well you're going to live, and maybe not as long as you're going to live, but as well as you're going to live. And I kind of view things that happen during a commute as funny. If somebody cuts in front of me, it's kind of like I just kind of laugh at that. It's like, okay, you're going to get where you're going a half a second quicker than I'm going to get there. Or if I see somebody that looks like they're just grooving out to some music, I kind of laugh at that too. I don't get really as uptight as I used to when I was younger, maybe because I'm older, maybe because I understand that, there are things in life you just have to laugh at. But I think it's about attitude, too, is it not?
It is, and that's exactly what I mean when I say reframing those thoughts. There's two ways to look at things. You can see the bad in it, or you can see the good. And you know what? You always find what you're looking for.
Chatting with Lee Richardson. By the way, your book, Turn Your Brain On, Get Your Game On, the How, What, Why to Peak Performance. So I guess, you and I have had enough conversations. It's tapping in to that vast unknown that sits above your neck, and you'd be surprised what you find when you do that. And that's what I think you're all about, right? I think it's mind over matter, but it's also just understanding that if you understand yourself better, then things like a commute probably will not get to you.
Absolutely, and it's also about understanding it's okay to have a bad day, to let the commute get to you one day. It's okay to experience a little depression or anxiety one day. We all do. Lean into it, embrace it, and you'll come out the other side.
I love it. I just love it. And, the other thing, too, Lee, is that if you let outside forces dictate the way you live, then you've got a problem, and you've got to go see somebody like you. You have control of all of this stuff. You have control over how you react to things in life, not just a commute, but anything that may happen after you get to your job and when you get home. And I just think there's a lot of self-empowering that's out there that we don't embrace. And I try to do that. It sounds good what I just said. It's tough to embrace sometimes, but it's there. And I think sometimes we fall short of understanding that that's exactly what can make us either happy or completely stressed out. I don't know why it's that way, but it seems like it's that way to me.
Well, and it's that way for everybody. It truly is. And I think, if we can create a general awareness and understanding, everything you don't do, how well you do it, that depends on how well your brain's working.
Yeah. How do we find your book, by the way? Is it at the usual places, Amazon and all places like that?
Well, it won't be on Amazon until December 4th, but it's on my website right now.
What's that?
TheBrainPerformanceCenter.com.
TheBrainPerformanceCenter.com. Lee Richardson. And again, the book is Turn Your Brain On to Get Your Game On, the How, What, Why to Peak Performance. And it must be big because Lee was at a book signing last night. That was unbelievable. You're signing books now. How about that?
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it's wonderful. You should. I hope you sign 100,000 of them and it gets to a fifth printing. That's what I hope.
Well, can I sign one and send it to you?
Oh, if you could do that, I'd be very, very happy about that. I'll send you my address.
Please do, because it would be my pleasure.
Thank you, Lee. You have a great day.
You too.